I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic middle school, I went to Catholic high school, and all throughout this I was ensured one of the worst things you could do as a human being was have premarital sex. And it's funny, there was so much effort instilling this in me when I really didn't have a chance to have any premarital sex. I didn't have a girlfriend throughout high school, and it turns out that if you want to stay pure of heart, it's way less important to be Catholic than it is to be a dork. So after I graduated, things started to change, and I met, well, a girl that I'd liked for a long time kind of started to reciprocate, and we got to know each other better, and we started, as the kids say nowadays, hanging out. And then we started hanging out without pants on, and I had a whole rush of Catholic guilt, and I said, before this goes any further, we have to stop. I loved her a lot, but I knew it was wrong. So to mitigate this awful sin, I thought we're gonna go get some condoms and be responsible. So I waited until my parents went to a Fleetwood Mac reunion concert, because I was raised in the suburbs and that happens pretty regularly. And I went and picked her up at her house and then drove to Turkey Hill, which is a chain of convenience stores in my hometown of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Yeah! Pull in, I get gas, and I go on in, and I start shopping like someone who, you know, when you buy something that you were really embarrassed to buy, that kind of way of shopping, where it's like you're getting, I don't know, cream that you don't want to tell anyone about, or like porn, or a bunch of ice cream by yourself on a Saturday night, that kind of thing, where I just sort of wandered around and was like, oh, a lot of beverage options here, and look at all these magazines, and hey, how did I end up buying all these condoms? I better get one. Upon arriving at the condom section, I was instantly overwhelmed with the selection. There's these ribbed ones and flavored ones and Magnum, and I'm a cocky 18-year-old, but I know I'm probably not a Magnum. I had no idea what I was doing, but I thought, keep it simple, lubricated condoms, boom. So I walk up to the cash register and the counter, and I sort of put a Gatorade and a Sports Illustrated, and then sort of slide across some condoms. Thinking, just get me out of this. And I, hear the woman, the cashier, go, boop, boop. And then an old man comes up behind me, and he goes, Wake Forest! And I was so excited to get out of my hometown that after I graduated, I would go around wearing these Wake Forest t-shirts, which is where I was going to school in North Carolina. And so I'm like, yeah, oh yeah. And he goes, beautiful campus. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And then I hear, boop, boop. And then he turns and goes, oh, are you a student there? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be a freshman this fall. And I'm waiting for the next boop, boop. But it doesn't come. So I turn and look, and there's a cashier, and she's this mulleted hag staring at me very angrily. And she says, show me some ID. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're adults here. This is normal because I've done this before. So I pull out my wallet and I hand her my driver's license. And she starts staring at it very intently. And then the old man from behind me goes, I got a daughter at Wake Forest. And I'm like, don't let him see the condoms. Don't let him know what a bad person I am. And he goes, oh, her name's Lily. I'm like, I'm sure I'll say hi to Lily if I see her, sir. And then the woman at the counter then looks at me again very angrily and goes, how old are you? And I go, I'm 18. What's your birthday? March 6, 1986. Now, just so you know, in Pennsylvania, so far as I know, there is no requirement for ID when you buy any sort of birth control, much less a condom. In fact, there is no requirement at age. You can just buy condoms if you're 6, because it's a condom. At this point, Mr. Thomas walks in the door. Mr. Thomas lives across the street from me. I've babysat Mr. Thomas's kids a number of times, not very well. Mr. Thomas talks to my parents pretty regularly, so I'm just head down, looking at the condoms, looking at the hag woman. Just get me through this. And the old man now has noticed the condoms, and he's kind of looking at me not quite as happily, and then the woman says, what's your name? Mike Baireuther, just so Mr. Thomas won't hear. And then she goes, spell it. So I start going, B-A-I-R. Old man behind me is like looking at his clock, looking at the condoms. I'm looking at the condoms, looking at the lady. E-U. T-H-E-R. She looks at it. I've now won the angry cash register spelling bee that I had to get through to just buy some condoms. She goes, okay, but you're too young for this. And at this point, I'm just handing her money. Just leave me alone and let me buy condoms. Oh my God. And so she says, paper or plastic? And I just go, nothing. And then I take the condoms and the Gatorade and the magazine and shove them in my pants and then just walk out with head down. Mr. Thomas hasn't said hello, so maybe he hasn't noticed me doing the worst thing a human being can possibly do, right? Have mutual sex with a monogamous partner at the age of 18. I get to the car and I sit down, and the girl sitting there next to me is like, what the hell took you so long? And I'm like, everything went wrong. She looks at me and says, oh, I'm so sorry, baby. You know what'll make you feel better? Let's go have some sex. And we did. And now we're engaged. Yay!